How to define inventory? Inventory can be defined using this left-hand rule. We can call this as inventory left-hand rule. And here you are finding these three dimensions. So what I'm trying to say is inventory has to be defined in three dimensions. And the three dimensions are, one is types of inventory, second is functions of inventory, and third is the nature of demand. Now let us deal with this in a detailed manner. Under types we have raw material, work in progress, finished goods, maintenance, repair and operating supplies, which is also known as MRO, and then we have distribution inventory. So when we say raw materials, components also part of this, raw materials and components. When we say raw materials and components, these are all the things we have obtained from our suppliers and we have not added any value so far on top of this. So when we say raw materials and components, these are all the things received from the suppliers and which is the predominant input for any manufacturing organization. And now work in progress or work in process. It is called both ways and they are the one and the same. When you say work in process, the moment you take the raw material and you do something on top of that, that becomes work in process and it continue to be the work in process until it becomes the finished goods. So the moment you added a small value or the greatest value, it is still in work in process until it becomes the finished goods. And finished goods are the ones that is the very purpose of the organization. Because the organization exists to sell these finished goods into the market and make profit. So when we say finished goods are the ones that is a mission of the organization and we sell this into the market and make profit. So now if you take this raw material, work in process and finished goods, these three form together as a group because we are doing business using this. But on the other hand, MRO, that is the maintenance, repair and operation supplies, these are all the things used in the production process. For example, you are using a drill bit in the drilling machine to produce your finished goods. That is part of MRO. And if you are buying petrol or diesel for the consumption, okay, that becomes MRO. So maintenance, repair and operation supplies to support your production process are called MRO. And then we have distribution inventory. So the distribution inventory is something, the moment you have the moment the goods go out of your finished goods warehouse, which is attached to the factory, it becomes part of the distribution inventory. So any inventory which is owned by your organization, as long as it is in transportation or sitting in a warehouse or sitting in multiple warehouses across a given geography, which is owned by your organization, that is part of the distribution inventory. So when we say distribution inventory, it is the same finished goods, but this is not within your within your finished goods warehouse attached to the factory. So now we have discussed the 5 types of inventory, that is raw material, work in progress or work in process, finished goods, MRO and distribution inventory. So the next one is functions of inventory. So under functions of inventory, we have safety stock, cycle stock, hedge inventory, anticipation inventory, and buffer inventory. So when we say safety stock can be at the beginning of the production process in terms of raw material, or it could be at the end of the production process as finished goods. And that is the reason we said the inventory has to be defined in these 3 dimensions, that is types, functions, and nature. So if you take a particular inventory that is raw material, which is a type, it could be a safety stock and it could be a dependent demand. So that is the reason we are saying all the 3 things coexist and they are not mutually exclusive. And the thing is whenever we define, we have to focus on all the 3 things. So now coming to this safety stock. So the purpose of safety stock is to protect your supply side risk and demand side risk. The thing is I may have safety stock in raw material level, so that my supply side is not disrupted, And at the same time, because of the demand side variabilities or variations, I may be building kind of like a finished goods safety stock. Okay, so safety stock can exist in different ways. And then cycle stock. Cycle stock this is to support the production itself. That is the reason we call it cycle stock. And then hedge inventory. Being a manufacturing organization, whenever there is a kind of like a price drop, for example, take your one of the raw material is like highly price sensitive. It's a kind of like the price is volatile. That means it moves up and down constantly. So you may try to take advantage of the price when it comes to the lower level. So you will buy large quantities and stock it to support your production process. And the thing is like you can save good amount of money as well. And that is called the hedge inventory. Then we have anticipation inventory. For example, like say a firecrackers company or chocolate factories. And the thing is like you see, these companies sell their entire goods in a very short period. For example, if you take a firecracker company, they manufacture all 365 days in a year, but they will sell within a 15 to 20 days period that is close to Diwali. And the thing is like, but for the entire year, they may be producing. And the thing is like, this is called the anticipation inventory, because the thing is like, you cannot have that kind of huge capacity to support the demand during such a short time. So you will be continuously producing and you will be accumulating this inventory in terms of finished goods or sometime work in process. And then you will kind of like sell into the market closer to this kind of like duration. And then we have buffer inventory. Buffer inventory is connected with theory of constraints. Whenever there is a constraint within your organization, for example, like one of the machinery is a constraint, and you may build inventory before that, because any capacity lost by this machine is lost forever. So we don't want to kind of like lose the capacity of this machine. So we build inventory before this machine, and that is called buffer inventory. So we have this under functions, we have this 5 types of inventory. First one is safety stock, then cycle stock, then hedge inventory, anticipation inventory, and finally it is buffer inventory. So under this left-hand inventory rule, the third one is nature of demand. The nature of demand, we have independent demand and dependent demand. So what do we mean by independent demand? Independent demand, you don't have much control, and this is about your finished goods. These are all the finished goods or the items you are going to sell into the market. And for this, we refer this as independent demand. The reason is we don't have any much control over this, and actually we need to forecast these things. And the other demand, that is a dependent demand, which is a calculated demand, or it is a derived demand from the independent demand. So now take the example of a OEM, say like a automobile factory, and here the end units, the finished good cars, are called independent demand. For example, like I have forecasted that during the next month I will be selling some 1,000 cars into the market. These 1,000 cars, how do I arrive? This is based on forecasting, and that is called the independent demand, because like I am forecasting that how much I will be selling into the market, and I don't have much control over like the consumers' buying behavior. And now the thing is like here 1,000 units are the independent demand. But if you take the dependent demand, say these 1,000 cars required 5,000 tires, and that is called the dependent demand. So we say independent demands are forecasted and dependent demands are calculated. So in summary, if you take this left-hand inventory rule, it has 3 dimensions: types of inventory, functions of inventory, and nature of demand. Thank you.